Hello, welcome back to Reads of an Apple. My name is Stacy, and today I'm doing something fun for Valentine's Day. I will be doing a book tag. It's been a while since I've done a book tag. I've missed doing them, and I was looking at a couple different Valentine's one, and nothing was giving me what I really wanted. So I went through my old backlog of blogger book tag lists, and I found one that is the romance tropes book tag. So I'm gonna do that. Romance, love day. I'm sure everyone can get the correlation. This was created by Ash's Infinite Library. I will have her post linked down below, and as well as all of the questions if you are interested in doing this book tag as well. I tag you who are watching this and want to do it. So yeah, we've got several questions, and they're all based on romance tropes. Now, I'm still kind of in flux here at my place. So I have one bookshelf put up. This is all of my, this is all of the sci-fi, paranormal, and fantasy romance I have on hand. All of my contemporary and historical is in a huge pile over here on the floor. As you can tell, the tower is my contemporary, and then I've got a bunch of stacks surrounding it, and those are my historicals. So unless it's on top, I won't be digging through that to pull out a book. But we'll see what happens. If not, I will pop up a picture of the cover here. But let's just get right into it. So, first trope, love at first sight. A book you fell in love with almost immediately. Really? Really? Oh my goodness. I mean, this is hard, but only because there's too many options. Do I do it? I do. Okay. I have a couple different versions of this, but I'm just going to grab the one that's in front. And so that is Radiance. I do have the special Fae Crate edition. So Radiance by Grace Draven. This was the book that kicked it off for me for my Grace Draven love. And yeah, she's one of the best fantasy romance authors out there. And I adore her to pieces. And this edition is absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, I have Brishan and Eldico. And then there's the hardback. Sitting face forward in front because they're one of my favorites. And yeah, so I'm going to go with that because it's just the way that their friendship kicks off and when they meet each other. And I feel like I want to reread this book now. And Eidolon too as well. But this series is just everything. It's everything to me. So yeah, Brishan and Eldico, love at first sight for me, not for them, because they think each other are ugly. Oh, I love it. Okay, I'm gonna set it over there so I don't have to worry about trying to put books back while we're doing this. Okay, so next trope, forbidden love, a romantic pairing you probably shouldn't love but do. Well, I mean, this is kind of hard because first what comes to mind is, okay, what is a taboo relationship, or like a relationship that kind of gives you the squeegees a little bit. I don't read very many of those tropes. Ooh. Lorraine Heath. The Earl. Are you on top? Please tell me you're on top. There's a couple Lorraine Heaths on top, but not the one I'm looking for. Not the one I'm looking for. I'll put the cover here. It's the one where his twin brother dies. The Earl takes it all. The Earl takes all. Something like that. But yeah, this one. Because his twin brother dies, and then he impersonates his twin while his twin's wife is pregnant, and he's been pining for her forever, and it was beautiful. So yeah, I'm gonna give that to Lorraine Heath. Okay, so Forced Proximity, a book you felt pressured to read. Ooh, a couple come to mind. And this can be taken a couple different ways, but I'm going to go with ACOTAR, and really all of Sarah's backlist, but she's very hyped, and there's also a lot of like mixed reviews out there or hate towards her books, but I didn't like feel pressure like I had to read this book. I always was interested to read it, but I more felt pressure during the readathon, and we went from the first couple Throne of Glass books to this. I was nervous, and not that I felt pressured to like it, but I was definitely more apprehensive going into it and trying to keep my mind open and not let the hype get to me when it came to it. And I knew also going in that more people talk about like the second, like in particular, the second book in the series as being the standout. So I knew somewhat that this wasn't supposed to completely blow me away, but it did blow me away, and I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the series overall. And I understand why people dislike this book and dislike Tamron so much, but I gotta say, a little bit justice for Tamlin, because he doesn't make good choices, but he's struggling. He's got some stuff he has to work through. He's got some trauma he's got to work through, and he was just coping in a way that was not healthy for him or any of the people around him. But I hope that he will finally get through the darkness that he is suffering through. So yeah, I'm going to say this. I wasn't like, I read it for a book club, read along, whatever you want to call it. But it was more like pressure on myself and nervousness, because I know how beloved this series in particular is. So that's the only one I really felt pressured about going into it. Okay, so then Mistaken Identity, a book that wasn't what you were expecting. A book I wasn't expecting. I mean, I feel like most of this is going to be fantasy, paranormal, and sci-fi because it's out and I just went through all of them when I was putting them away. So I'll try not to lean too much towards them, but it's also the genres I also read the most, especially of late. So I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with Clean Sweep by Ilona Andrews. I mean, I was expecting it to be great. I love Ilona Andrews, and I was expecting to just be completely enraptured in this new world that they're building. but I didn't really know anything coming into this or what vibes they were going in for this series. So it wasn't what I was expecting, but in the best possible way. We've got sci-fi, fantasy, paranormal, humor. Like, this book is chocked full of their humor, and it's their take on mythology, and it wasn't quite what I was expecting going into it, although I tried to have not to have too many expectations. But being that I've read most of Alona Andrews' backlist at this point, I did have expectations as for writing style and enjoyment levels and things like that, but it just blew me away. It blew me away. So I highly recommend the Innkeeper Chronicles, and I've only read the first book, but I know I'm going to love the rest of them, especially if they keep on this trajectory. So I'm going to say this. Okay. Second Chance Romance, a book or series you enjoyed more the second time around. I usually typically reread favorites. So, a book or series you enjoyed more? If I had one that was like 4 stars and then I changed it to 5 stars, maybe? Head Coach by Leah Riley. This is the second book in her, I always want to say Denver Hellions series, but I think it's Hellions Angels series. I always get it mixed up. It's a hockey series, and the hockey team is the Denver Hellions. But I think the series is called the Hellions Angels because it's the Hellions hockey players and their romantic partner. So it's one of those two. I always get it mixed up in my brain. And you'd think I'd have it straight because I have reread the first book at least 6 times. It is one of my favorite hockey romances. And I wasn't a big fan of the second book. I gave it 4 stars, but the last couple times I've reread the first book, I've also reread the second book, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I remember enjoying it. And I've now since upped it to 5 stars. I still haven't gone back to reread the third book. So maybe I should do that to see if my rating on that one has raised. But yeah, I'm going to go with this one. And I have it in my giant pile over here somewhere. Opposites Attract, a book you love from a genre you don't usually read. Instantly my mind goes to Sarah J. Maas again because I don't really read YA or new adult very often. So most of her fantasy books are that series, but I already used a Sarah J. Maas book. And as much as I love her and am now on the Sarah J. Maas bandwagon, train, whatever you want to call it, hype train, and I know I'm one of the last people to join it, and I'm sitting in the back in the caboose, but I'm on the train, and that's the point, right? Let me choose someone else. A new adult or a young adult book that I enjoyed enough to purchase. I'm going to go with, I have not purchased it yet, but I would like to purchase, this is the Campus Wallflowers by Rebecca Genshak. I picked up her Christmas duology, Holiday with the Players, recently, during Vlogmas of last year. I'll link my Vlogmas playlist up above if you'd like to try to find those videos in there. And then I read the first book in her Campus Wallflower series, and I definitely would like to purchase them. And I've read the second book, I think, in it as well. So, yeah, I don't typically read new age, college-stage romances, really, anymore. If I do, they're usually sports romances. But, yeah, I I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars. It wasn't perfect, but I just, it just hit what I needed at the time. And sometimes that's all you need. So I'm going to go with that one. Okay. Enemies to Lovers, a book whose second half is better than its first, or a series that gets better over time. Either or. I mean, my first thought is once again a Sarah J. Maas book. I can't think of very many books where I didn't like the first half, but I enjoyed the second half. I mean, the only one I can think of is one. So I'm just going to do it because it's the only one that I can think of. So I am going to do another Sarah J. Maas. And it isn't technically, it's probably not actually technically the halfway mark, but I did really struggle at the beginning of House of Earth and Blood to connect with Bryce. She's a little different to a character than I usually connect with. I mean, more along the lines of the college age new adult party girls. But I mean, it probably was quicker than the second half, but once I got on board and we really kind of got to sit and really learn about Bryce and live with Bryce and how she lives and everything that goes on with her, then I was on board. And Bryce is now my girl. She's now my girl. She's not my number one, but she is in my girl group for sure. So I'm gonna say this one, and I'm gonna try not to pick any more Sarah J. Maas books the rest of this. Okay. Love Triangle. Your house is on fire and you can only save one series. Which two do you die trying to choose between? Well. So it would probably be something old, something more special edition that we can't really find new copies of easily. So that's hard. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have the Once Upon a Book Club Bridgerton special editions, but you can find those, right? And I don't know if I'd die choosing that as a series. So what I would probably try to save is my Lisa Kleypas Hathaway series, because that's one of my favorite historical romance series. One of my favorite all-time historical romance novels is in that series, Love in the Afternoon. And I have a set that all has step backs, so it would probably be that series. I mean, the only other really special edition kind of stuff that I have, that if I don't end up getting, because I have like alternate covers of some books and stuff, but I think the only other one that's like really special is my special edition Wraith Kings. So, and it's only the first 2 books, but if Fake ever wants to do the next couple of books or do like an anthology bind up, because there's a lot of novellas in this series, I'd be down for that. But anyway, I'd probably say the Hathaways and this would be the ones I am debating between. Okay. Friends to Lovers, a book you wanted more from. Okay, that's not going to be one that I own. That's for sure. Trying to think of a book that I read that was like a 3-star, so I enjoyed it, but it didn't quite hit everything out of the park for me. I have a couple that are in my head that I'm thinking of. But I'm just going to go with one of the more recent ones that I read, and that's Neanderthal Seeks Duchess by Lainey Hatcher. I was very interested in this. I was interested to try a new historical author. This is part of the Smarty Pants imprint. But it just didn't quite balance for me the level of retelling versus historical action. Because if you did not know, this series is a historical romance retelling of Penny Reid's Knitting in the City series. And it just, the mashup didn't quite feel balanced to me or kind of give me what I was wanting or expecting out of the book. So I'm gonna say that one, which is kind of a disappointing prompt for Friends to Lovers, because I love Friends to Lovers way more than Enemies to Lovers, but that's beside the point. Almost done. Meet Cute, a book that got you hooked on romance. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, one of the first full novels I remember reading was in kindergarten. My book to read was 101 Dalmatians, like the novel, and instead of like everybody else was reading like a picture book, and I was reading a chapter out of 101 Dalmatians. And it's been a long time since I've read it, but I feel like there was probably romance in there. I know there's there's romance between the two humans, and then there's Pongo and Perdita. So I feel like there might have been romance in there. But otherwise, I don't really remember the first romance book I've read. I've just always kind of read romance. I mean, I didn't always strictly read romance, but I've always read romance because those were the books that my grandmother had. And so when I'd go over there and I wanted to read books that weren't picture books that she bought for us as kiddos, I would read like her Harlequins and her Silhouettes and things like that. So I've just always read romance. So it's kind of sad, but I don't actually know the first official romance book that I read. But it obviously like hit me enough that I was just like, this, I want this and only this moving forward. Well, not only this, because it took a while before I pared down to pretty much just reading romance. But anyway, we will move on. Soulmates, two characters that are made for each other. Two characters that are made for each other. I mean, I have a lot of Fated Mates stuff. And I already did Alona Andrews. But I'm debating between two other Alona Andrews couples. Because I just can't help myself. And they're so good. But I just got to. I'm going to do the new one. Kate Daniels and Curran Lennart. I love them to pieces. I loved them before. I was going to grab Magic Triumphs, but seeing their relationship in Magic Tides, which is another spin-off to Kate Daniels. This is Kate Daniels' The Wilmington Years, book number 1. If you did not know, it just came out in the middle of January. But the way that they just know each other and love each other and are a family unit and support each other and rib each other, I have to give it to Kate and Curran. I just have to. And what's funny is they don't even have, even though he's a shifter, the Fated Mates moniker attached to them. They're just meant to be, and I love them. I love them. I love them. Okay, so that is it for tropes. And then there is a bonus little prompt. Your favorite romance trope in a book that features it. Well, my ultimate favorite romance trope is wrong sibling, which is a part of the mistaken identity a lot of the times. I will relax it depending on familiar situations where it's like wrong cousin type of thing. So what this is you're expecting, you're dating, you're being matched with someone else, and then whoever the perspective is that we are is ending up falling in love with their sister, cousin, brother, whatever situation. I don't know why. It is my ultimate favorite prompt. I love it when I can find more books. I have a list of books I want to read from that prompt. So if you know any books like that, and I read a lot of the really super popular ones, but leave them down below if you know a book with that prompt, because if I haven't read it, I want to get it on my list. Oh my gosh. I mean, I feel like I see it more in fantasy and historical romances, or at least it's more well done in those types of romances because it's easier to kind of get around whatever situation might be happening there. I feel like you have a lot more arranged marriages or proxy marriages or kind of things like that, or it's easier to have mistaken identities. I have read a couple contemporary ones that were decent. One of them was actually a clean romance, and I thought that was kind of a smart choice for doing a contemporary take on the trope. But I don't know, the one that keeps popping into my mind is this Tracy Ann Warren one, which is the first book in a trilogy. It's not the best example of the trope, I feel like. Now that I think about it, I think I have 3 different contemporary books that I have bought of it and 2 of them are clean, and one of them, there's only steam in the epilogue or like the last couple chapters. It's all just angsty tension between them, which is funny because I'm not a big angst person. But I'm going to go with this Tracy Warren. I don't know why, but it's the one that's popping in my head. And this one is, they are twins, and there is an arranged marriage kind of situation. I can't remember if it's specifically arranged or if it's just kind of like a setup, or they were courting. He was courting her sister, and then the parents agreed on the marriage and the dowry, but her sister didn't want to marry him. So she ends up taking her sister's place, and then she kind of has to act like her sister. And this is like opposite twin personalities kind of a thing. This is a little more of an angstier one, and it wasn't perfect. I think I gave it 4 or 4.5 stars, but I think I rounded up to 5 because, I mean, it pretty much hit what I like smack dab. Sarah Ney has one too in her Jock Rowe series too. One of the novellas has it. I think it's Jock Rowe. It's like Switch Hitter or something like that. But yeah, I mean, they're out there. So like I said, if you know any books that have that trope, or like I said, I can do around it because there's an Elizabeth Hoyt one where he falls in love with her cousin, and so, like, she's constantly around her cousin, and because it's a historical romance, they all kind of live together. So it's not like sister, but it's cousin and familial member. So there's still that same kind of type of tension between the 3 of them. And I don't like it to be a love triangle, but more just like I'm marrying this person out of obligation, or we're being set up, or we're fake dating type of situation, or we're doing a marriage of convenience, and then I meet your familial person and fall in love with them instead. And I have read it where it's the man falling in love with the sister, or the sister falling in love with the brother, or the woman falling in love with the brother. I haven't read any same-sex or even bi ones where like the woman falls in love with the guy she's dating sister, or vice versa. So if you know of any of those, let me know down below, because that would be interesting too. But yeah, that is it. That is all of the tropes. Like I said, I will list them all down below, as well as Ash's website where she has the original post for this book tag. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I'm hoping to get back on track on doing book tags once a month, because I love doing things like this and like little quizzes and trying to apply them to books. And I'm kind of hoping, I feel like I should be, at least through 2022, I'm going to try to keep track of the books that I talk about, so I don't talk about the same books over and over and over. But we'll see how that goes. Sometimes just one book is just the only one that will fit, or the only one in your brain, and it won't leave it and allow room for someone else. So anyway, like I said, let me know what your answers to these questions would be if you aren't a booktuber and just want to answer the questions for fun. Let me know down below. Or if you know any books with my favorite trope, also let me know down below. If you'd like to just leave me an emoji, leave me some type of heart for Valentine's Day coming up soon. Whether you celebrate it or not, I hope you have a lovely day. It is a Tuesday, so I hope you have a good day if you're working. And if you don't have a significant other like myself, I hope you can get love from someone else, whether through a platonic friend or a cute little kitty on your lap. But yeah, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you all soon with another video.